whether you love Trump or hate Trump, though this more applies to people who hate Trump, I think it's just absolutely ridiculous to say that he's Hitler or he's as bad as Hitler when you look at what Hitler did
Yeah,
versus what Trump has done. It's just crazy. But
Agreed.
I still think it's a very interesting historical exercise to ask what parallels you see between Trump and Hitler as people, maybe in their rises to power, their regimes.
That's not the kind of reasoning I do. It's just, I don't believe in it. It makes no sense to me. What's interesting is not these individuals, neither of them.
Because Trump is irrelevant, as we spoke about before.
Yeah, it's the situation. What he does is made by his circumstances, not by him. He is really, in a long chain of causation, he's the last step. He's not the first step. He's not even in the middle. He's trying to cope with 27 pressures coming at him in different ways. And if I knew more about him, I might make an educated guess which way he's going to go. But I don't. I'm not about to know him. I don't even care very much. I'm interested in the forces and how they are pushing him. Which way he finally goes, I can't know. And it's kind of idle speculation. The reason the German story is important is it gives you some sense of some of the pressures he's under. You've got a working class here that is very shocked. No one prepared them. That's a flaw of this culture, which of course no one is allowed to say. No one prepared them that there is an empire, that the empire is going to decline. Why? Because every empire in the world has. And do you really want to bet that this one won't? And if it might, could it be now? Could we? We cannot have that conversation. We just had a presidential election in which neither candidate said a word like that. Not Trump, not Biden, not Harris. Declining empire? Us? Who? Me? Not at all. They all talk as though we're deciding on doing it. We're the United States and we're making decisions. And look at Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump, in a world in which probably it is fair to say the overwhelming majority of people are coming out of a century or two of colonialism, hating it, wanting it to disappear. Anti-colonialism, anti-imperialism is the ethos of the world at this point. In that moment, Donald Trump says, I'm going to take back the Panama Canal. I'm going to take Greenland away from Denmark. I'm going to take Canada away from the Canadian. What? Why would a leader now, given the ethos I just described, having attacked Russia for 3 years relentlessly for taking Ukraine, territory in Ukraine, suddenly become the advocate of taking territory? What the hell? What? But now, wait a minute. Now you do have an answer. When your country is falling apart, one of the ways you hold it together is to go on a crusade. Hitler attacks everybody. It's crazy. How is Germany going to fight Russia, Poland, the West? What are you, nuts? Yeah, afterwards, that's how we talk. But at the time, he's solving problems. Step by step, and his rationale is kind of, if you look at it honestly, I don't like Hitler, obviously. Most of my family was killed by the fellow, not his part. But I understand what he was doing. I understand what Mr. Trump is doing. I think the usefulness of the exercise is to learn something from understanding it, to be more strategically adept at avoiding the worst outcome. Hitler, Trump is no Hitler. I got that. I agree with you about that. But he's under pressures that in one case led in that direction, and there are sure as hell signs that in this case, there are also some of them leading in that direction. Will they be strong enough? Will they engender a counter reaction? Who knows? Germany at the time Hitler takes power had extremely well organized, very powerful left wing. Half the country were in the socialist or communist parties. These were parties that had armed detachments to fight in the streets, and they were disciplined in many ways, particularly the Communist Party of Germany. Our left is out to lunch. There are no organizations even remotely comparable. Is it therefore easier for fascism to come here in some ways? You bet. You bet. If and when Mr. Trump, he hasn't done it yet, but if and when Mr. Trump were to mobilize his partisans, the Proud Boys, folks like that, put them in a uniform the way that Hitler did, and have them terrorize anybody who has a meeting, to get rid of the un-American, improper ideology. Now it's a Smithsonian. Tomorrow it'll be what? A rally in Times Square? We already are picking up people whose crime seems to have been that they participated in anti-Israel or pro-Palestinian activities at various universities. The universities are caving, giving the names to the police, abetting the whole process. Columbia, beyond words. Okay, those are signs. I think it is as inappropriate to equate Hitler to Trump as it is not to see that Trump is under very similar pressures and is making some similar moves. That's as much as it's reasonable to say. But it's unreasonable to deny that. I wish it weren't the case. Secretary of State Rubio made a speech yesterday in which he made it clear, I'm boasting. 300 foreign students, that was the number he gave, have been expelled from the United States, have had their visas canceled or withdrawn. People in the middle of their PhD studying such revolutionary topics as, oceanography and so forth. Well, but it turns out that they wrote an article about genocide in Gaza or something like that. Jesus, that's interesting. It's interesting that people who come here and participate in nonviolent, perfectly legal political expression, which is not an excluded activity by anybody, are now being able, and that nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Very few people saying much about it. The Democratic Party is DOA. It's not even there. Mr. Biden seems to have vanished into thin air. Kamala Harris with him,